it's the odds of that. It's just incredible. There's the double biceps. We are getting, there we go. We're seeing another set of double biceps coming in. Oh, and one there.
Here we go.
Look out, I've started something now. It is in the contract. It is a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera, just making sure that the lawyers are happy the boxes have been ticked, and they have definitely seen one bicep there. There is the second one there. They can't argue with that. Now, we have two amazing guests on the show today. Lucky Wood, who was on the show last week, is of the Lucky's podcast. It does a fantastic job promoting female arm wrestling and has incredible female arm wrestlers from around the world on a show every Saturday night, and has been doing that for almost a year. I think you're coming up to a year now for that. Which is incredible. And your coach, Michael Nance, which is decades of experience in the arm wrestling scene.
Off on the decades.
Well,
multiple decades.
An absolute privilege to be able to talk to both of you. And you are currently in Columbus, Ohio, heading up there for the Arnold's event on this weekend. How's the preparation been going? How is everything looking for the event this weekend?
Well, I'm actually not competing. She is. So I'm just cornering and coaching this weekend.
So a lot of yelling from the sideline.
Fantastic. Her dieting has been on point. She made weight today fully dressed.
Wow.
With shoes. True. With shoes and a jacket on.
Wow. Yeah, the
jacket, take it off.
I had to take the jacket off.
We'll just say it was on. There was 5 jackets actually. So
her pocket.
The transformation that you've made, as we've talked about last week, has been tremendous. Was it been coming up to a year as well with Carnivore now, or is it 8 months to 12 months or something like that you were looking at?
It should be a year next month in March.
So it's funny because the day of the podcast and the day I started Carnivore are the same day, so that'll be the year mark for both.
Fantastic. And so which weight class are you actually competing in this weekend?
So I'm doing something very silly, and I'm competing in the 154s and in the 155 plus as well.
Aha. There you go. The format that they run there, do they run the whole tournament all the way through and then the finals, or do they have they get to the finals and then they have a break and then they'll have the finals later?
Oh, not just a break, but
a day.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm never a fan.
There's going to be a lot of icing involved if I make it to I know that I'll be competing Sunday in the left-hand finals because it's top 4 and there's only 4 of us unless they added somebody in. There's only going to be 4 of us in the left-hand for 155 plus. So I'll at least have to pull Friday evening and again Sunday morning, and then it's up in the air if I end up pulling the right hand. Possibly.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, well, I don't know, with that format, it's just only my personal preference, but I like when the division just runs all the way through. You get to see the winner. Here's first place, second place, third place. Well done, everyone. Here's your trophy. On to the next division.
Yes.
Because it seems to be, and this happened to one of our guys at the Nationals that they had here in Australia last year. He was competing in the, this is under 220-pound division. I'm trying to do the conversion in my head as I'm speaking. And he had made the finals. And then they said, well, you're doing so well. Would you want to compete in the heavyweights as well? And he's like, but if I compete in the heavyweights, then I'm going to be wrecked for the finals later. And they're like, yeah, probably. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do that then. So, so basically it felt like a missed opportunity in a way.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We've got some of the regulars in here. The Drew, of course, has jumped in.
Hey, Drew.
We love the Drew. He does a tremendous job promoting arm wrestling on every stream you will see. He is always out there. So it is great to see him here. And
I was so excited to see him on your show a few weeks ago. Everybody go watch the replay. It was really fun.
Is that the first time you've seen the man in person?
100%, yeah. I was like, he's a real person.
No one picked up that it was an AI bot that I'd programmed, so that was good. He gets to keep the mystique.
Yes.
Largo's here. He says "ole," which he's saying things backwards for some reason, and he says, "Oh, the Drews picked up on that as well."
Yes.
There we go. Super. It is very super. Great to see you guys in here. We are talking to Lucky Wood and Michael Nance. Michael, what have you seen in terms of Lucky's where she started to where she is now, the progression in her ability and her technique?
6 years of progression in a year.
Wow. So very fast learner.
I've been competing for 32 years. I've been training people for about 20. And don't let your head swell up too big. I can honestly say the closest to her, and his head will swell up when he hears this. Dustin Chambers is a guy that I trained, and he advanced really well in his first year, but not on a level like this. Not to the point that he knew how to high hook, how to deep set hook, how to top roll, how to use side pressure, how to manipulate somebody's hand and wrist and fingers in a year. That's, for me, training people, that's a 5-6 year thing.
Wow. So a very fast learner. Was it the first session that you had where you're like, she's actually picking this up pretty quick here?
The first time on the table with her, when she told me that she used to power lift, first thing I said is, okay, here's 7 different exercises I want you to do for the next 3 to 4 months. Because typically, I say typically because there has now been one power lifter that tries to go to arm wrestling, have weak hands, weak wrist, because they strap and they're round. Typically, they come into the sport, and that's the first thing you want to do. You've got to strengthen that hand and wrist. 3 weeks later, we actually got on the table at the house, and because she was just having a fit to get on, she didn't want to wait 3 or 4 months. So we got on the table, and as soon as we gripped up, as soon as we loaded, I was like, that's a better hand and wrist than what I thought it would be. So I wanted what I would do typically if you were to come over brand new and I was going to train you. I want to see. I'm not going to attempt to beat you. I want you to beat me. I want you to win, but I want to see, what do you do? What is your natural motion? Are you going to dive in and hook? Are you going to go outside? What are you going to do? And then we'll build from there. Well, with her, it was a top roll. She just was a natural top roller. So that's what we did. But what would you say, about 6 months in?
Yeah.
About 6 months in, I'm like, look, your top roll's fantastic. You got to learn to hook. Why? Because a hook is a defense against a top roll. You're going to find somebody with a better top roll than you one day, so you better be able to hook. And then it progressed from there. But like you said a moment ago, it's just a quick learner. She really has picked up really well.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is one of those things that somebody who spent, and this is coming from personal experience, years in the gym with your fundamental movements, with your bicep curls, your bench presses, your shoulder press, all that sort of thing, having sort of built the hypertrophy of the muscle, but then the hand and wrist were never, apart from maybe in back exercises like pull downs or rows or that sort of thing. And as you said, a lot of the times it would be, I can't hold on to the bar, so I'll use straps. So because my goal there was, I'm trying to build my back muscles as opposed to my grip strength. And then stepping into the arm wrestling room, it's like, well, I should be all right here. I've got I've got 16 years, 20 years of weightlifting behind me, and you're just getting whipped to the tape, to the pin pad over and over. And you're like, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
So
in the 90s, I did semi-pro bodybuilding, and I went from that to powerlifting. But the first person that got me into powerlifting told me one time that if you have to use straps, weight's too heavy. And he recommended, don't use straps unless you absolutely cannot hang on to the weight. Don't use straps. And I went through powerlifting without straps. and without using the wrist hooks, you know, and all the routes and stuff. So I came into arm wrestling with a good grip, which is rare. I mean, it really is. Like you were saying, the majority of people, you don't see the typical person gym rat go in and train their forearms all day.
Absolutely, yeah. And if they do, I mean, it's a very simple,
right?
Curl thing,
little cupping motion.
Yeah, and it's just, they're trying to build the size of this because of the presentation of the muscle kind of thing. But in terms of trying to get stronger in all of the different manipulations of the wrist, it's just no one's doing that. And even now, when you do those movements in the gym, people are looking at you like, what the hell is that guy doing over there? Because you're hidden in the corner going like this. It's like it looks really dodgy. So I was going to ask him, but no.
Well, I am a firm believer in all the angles, which is something that Devin has started teaching and preaching on his podcast and our own YouTube videos. But I know people see me, I'll start out and I'm over here. Well, we're fading. I don't know if you can see me.
I can see you.
Turn that off for just a second. Yeah. 1 second. Or can we midway?
Yeah, I think we can.
There we go. Oh, the secret's been revealed now.
Yeah. If I start working something cupping, I'll start trying to bring down here. And as I'm going into the motion, I'm constantly bringing around because you need to hit all those angles. And I'm a firm believer in that. I think that Devin has got something there because I've been doing it for years. That you're never going to be in this position on arm wrestling table. You're going to be here and here and here and here and here. And you need to train all those things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the dynamics is just insane. And combining those movements of training against resistance in the gym, as well as being on the table with people, because it's almost impossible to replicate somebody that's working against you on the table, and they're maybe they're pushing here and then they explode quickly and then they're trying to push into a hook, and it's just, how are you going to replicate that in a gym setting? So yeah, it is like, especially for people that primarily will only ever do a lot of wrist strengthening movements, and then they're like, well, I've done six months of getting my wrist really strong, and then they come on the table and they're just getting completely destroyed because they're not used to somebody just climbing over their hand, or getting the shoulder behind their hand, and it's like, well, my wrist is strong, but I'm just getting pinned over and over. right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Drew here has said that I've just started to train with specific arm wrestling movements. Absolutely. Ryan Bowen was showing me some of the things in India when we were there for a month last year. And he's like, let's go to the gym and work out. And we did a traditional, chest workout or whatever it was, just your bench press and that sort of thing. He's like, all right, now we'll do the arm wrestling stuff. And he had a couple of different handles, which I'd never seen before. And he had set up, and I think it was just this, it was like just a almost something like that, just with a thing at the end, caliper at the end. And he was just doing, just these riser movements, because he says, look, Matt, you're strong. Like, you're a strong guy. Your arms are strong. You're always losing matches. Like, what is happening? Like, why are you losing these? I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to win. I'm just and he's
not on purpose.
Yeah, I'm not deliberately going out, oh, let me just lose this one, that'll be fun. And it became very obvious why. And it was when he was doing the weight, it was nice and slow and controlled, and when I would get the weight, it was it was all over the place. I couldn't keep the thing still. And he's like, have you never done these things before? And I'm like, no. No. He's like, okay, I think that we've found a weakness there. So yes, that is something I have now added in. But it is one of those things when, like, here in Australia and in the club of Adelaide, the SA Titans Club, it's a small knit community. It's probably similar with the US, but even smaller here in Australia. And so, being one of the most sort of experienced or longest members of the club, I'm doing a lot of teaching and a lot of instructing and that sort of thing, but I'm not learning as much because there's not that many people that are in our club regularly that have that deep knowledge, like 32 years of knowledge of how to do different exercises and movements and fundamentals. And there's guys in the club that sort of mess around with that, but we're all sort of still trying to figure it out and trying to learn how these things work. And people are ordering handles online, and some of them are rubbish and some of them are going well. So it is interesting to find that was like, oh, okay, I can really see the difference as to why I cannot hold on to, like, it was just the weight wasn't heavy. I'm trying to hold it, and my hand was just twisting all over the place.
Well, all those little stabilizer muscles, you've never trained them, so that's the whole shaking thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels to me like I always lose the center, and then I'm relying on my cup and my bicep to catch here.
Right.
And if I get the stop, then I can start working either into pronation or, if it has to go hook or whatever. But it's always that first third that I'm getting, because of that weakness in the wrist. But it's just a crazy sport with there's so many little fine details that it's like, oh, you have to be doing this little movement. And you're like, no, like, well, that's why you're losing. You're like, fuck. Have you seen exercises that have come and gone, like that people used to do, and now like no one has heard of that anymore? But you're like, oh, there used to be a fundamental thing that everyone was doing, and it's like,
yeah. Some of the older things, they don't translate to arm wrestling. They're more of a power move. But 25, 30 years ago, the knowledge of kinesiology, just the human body, the physiology and how everything works, it didn't exist. And I mean, it was in the mid 90s before they realized that there was not only hyperplasia, but also hypertrophy. They didn't realize until the mid 90s that we can actually grow new muscle tissue. So there's different ways to train. They thought it just expanded out as it tore down prior to that. Implements and stuff. That's what we were talking about today, talking to Cody Wood. You guys really have it easy. And I say that in the fact that the implements that are available now, there are hundreds of them. We would take a 2x6 piece of wood and drill a hole in the end of it and put an eye bolt through, and you grip it like this. Because if your fingers come back on it, it'll flip up. If your thumb comes back, it'll flip down. And you do cupping motions with it like that. Now we've got that we can just sit and do that all day. Go to somewhere like Hobby Lobby or somewhere and get a big wooden egg like for arts and crafts. Drill a hole in the end of it, put an eye bolt in, hold it, do top rolls with it, flip it upside down, cup in. We've got hundreds of implements that we can use now. We didn't have those things. They just didn't exist. If we didn't make it, it didn't exist. Arm wrestling was in bars and high schools. People didn't make equipment for arm wrestling. And now you can find it everywhere.
It was so hard back in the
40s. For those who didn't hear that, because it sort of cut out a little bit, like you said, it was so hard back in the 40s.
I will admit, I've been arm wrestling since she was 2.
Wow, absolutely incredible. It seems to be one of those sports that it's almost like guys tend to peak between 40 and 50 or 40 and 60. Like the ability to be competitive and be like incredibly adept with your skill and your knowledge and your tendon strength, your ligament conditioning. It sort of all seems to come together around that 40 plus mark, which is very strange for such a physical sport where you're, I mean, you could say it's a combat sport, but you're trying to overpower your opponent. And you would think, okay, well, that's probably a young man's game. Like, you look at all other sort of martial arts or combat sports, and by the time you're 35, it's like, that's it, unless you're a phenom or something. But arm wrestling, I mean, you could jump in at 35, at 40, at 45, and be successful, enjoy the sport, and get.
Pete Royal started at age 47. He's 80-something years old now, and he and Milt Christmas hold the record for the world's longest arm wrestling match.
Oh, how long? What was the time?
It was almost a half hour.
What?
Is it on my channel? Do I have it posted on there? The 24. It's 24 or 25 minutes. I think it's on my YouTube channel actually.
I've got your YouTube channel right here actually. So let's have a look. Because I wanted to have a talk about the sit down stuff, but we'll get onto that afterwards. But let me just look at the videos.
If you're going to try and scroll them all, there's nearly 900 videos on my channel.
Oh, what was the guy's name? The
Pete, Pete.
Yeah.
Royal.
Royal.
Right. Just like the drink, Crown Royal.
There we go. What do we got here? That's
and Milt, M-I-L-T, is his opponent, Christmas.
Oh, Milt Christmas?
Yes.
All right. Let's see what we can find with that. Milt, M-I-L-T, Christmas. It was a sit-down match, was it? No. Oh, yes. Yeah, here it is. Over 20-minute match from 2018. Yeah,
that's it.
Oh, there it is. So when they got, they're locked in the center, and then they're just stuck there for a while. Wow. Oh, look at the pump going on with the veins.
Oh, and neither of these guys are any kind of a joke or pushover. The guy Dustin Chambers that I brought up earlier that really advanced really well, his first year at Alabama State, I told him his weight class. I said, listen, if you get called up to the table against a guy named Pete Royal, I said, you're going to think he's an elderly man and you're going to feel sorry for him. And if you don't pin him when the referee says go, you will never pin him. Because Pete is one of those that can stop you right here, just like he is right there. And he can hold you for days and days and days.
Wow. Incredible. So did you happen to see this match live, or you've caught it up in the videos as well? No, you saw it live?
No, until this year. We won't be going this year because her round robin is actually the same day as Sit Down Nationals. But I've been there for over a decade.
Fantastic. Yeah, the sit down stuff is really interesting. Actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because I mean we don't have that here in Australia. No one has really done that at all.
If you want to build power, and if you're more of a power type arm wrestler, sit downs. Sit downs is the way to go. Stand up will not improve your sit down game, in my opinion, but sit down will improve your stand up game.
Right. Well, I've got a great match you had right here in a sit down match. So I found this one earlier today, and I was like, I'm going to show that because it was a fantastic match. Bit of back and forth.
That was actually at Alabama this last year.
Yeah. So you're almost doing a very similar thing to Pete Royal, with the sitting in that same spot in a way. You're using your riser and preventing yourself from being cupped. But is it because of, obviously you can't use your body weight as much to build momentum? You can't really sort of, when you're standing, obviously you can really sort of pivot around a bit more with your body positioning. But yeah, it's a very unique thing. I haven't seen much of it really at all.
Well, the position of your body is kind of backwards at a sit down than it is stand up. Stand up, you want to shift your body in the direction your arm is going. Sit down, you want to bring your hips to the opposite side of the seat from where you're heading. It creates a distance for you. Think about the guys that you work with or train that come in the first time and they lay their other arm, their peg holding arm, on the table. They get over to this spot and they're stuck. They can't go any farther. Sit down is the worst about that. You've got to hold your peg, get your arm out of the way, but you need to shift over here so that you can have distance to go in that direction, because you can only tip so far before your butt starts coming up off the bench, and you can't take your hips off of the seat. So you need to slide in the opposite direction of the arm that you're going so that you have that distance to pivot.
Fantastic.
Or you get a butt foul.
A butt foul? So
if you were looking through those sit-down matches from Alabama, you saw there was an older gentleman that stood straight up against me. And the referee is like, I don't know, do I call like an entire body foul? What do
I... He's come straight out of the chair, has he?
Oh, he just stood straight up.
It's like, the name is sit-down arm wrestling. You are now standing. Yeah. So there's a referee looking at your elbow, and there's a referee designated just to look at your ass. Is that how it works?
Yes. Say back 12, 15 years ago, you had to have a head ref and you had to have a down ref, just like stand-up. But each competitor had a butt ref, and they would take a dowel rod. You know what a dowel rod is?
Yeah.
Round wood. You have to sit down with that dowel rod just right under the edge of your butt cheeks. And they would put their thumb and put a little bit of pressure on it. If the dowel rod starts coming out, they give you a warning, get back down. Dowel rod comes all the way out, you got a foul. At some point, somebody said, listen, that part's kind of stupid. Can we just... So now you've got a head ref and a down ref that not only watch the top of the table, but they're supposed to watch your butt. Like at Alabama, Glenn gets a butt ref. Just sit up there and just watch everybody, make sure everybody's sitting down.
You're like, I'm volunteering for the women's division.
You really need somebody watching, and the reason being, I won't call him out because I love the guy, but we had somebody at Sit Down Nationals a few years back. He had a good idea. He wore a jersey, like a football jersey. You know, they come down to your knees. So the video that we were watching later, my video didn't capture it, but Mike West videos every year up there. And I'm watching the angle that he's at, and he beat my training partner. First time he's ever beaten him. But we realized why about a week or two later when Mike posted the videos. He was standing about this tall off of the seat, standing up, pushing down on him because you couldn't see it because he had a football jersey on.
Unbelievable.
So we got there the next year, and I told Randy, I said, you remember what we talked about? And he's like, yeah. He said, nobody can have long shirts on anymore.
Oh, man. The lengths that people will go to cheat is insane.
Yeah. Well, the guy that did it, I think the world. Like I said, I'm not going to call him out.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the great things about the arm wrestling community is everyone is so friendly, so welcoming, so wanting everyone to succeed and wanting the sport to grow and get better and bigger. And if it's probably in that situation, it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, come on, like, have a fair match with us at least. You know, if you can't win legitimately, just train harder and come back. Oh, that's tremendous. Did he have shorts on? Like, did he have pants and then the long jersey was covering?
I think he actually had what do they call cargo shorts.
Okay. Wow, that's incredible. We've got a couple of good comments here. Dan Swords says that he practiced sit downs last night. And he's followed that up with, Mike, we literally said the same thing tonight. Sit down will improve your stand-up game, but your stand-up will not really improve your sit-down game.
Exactly. I agree.
There you go. Perfect. Brian Parliament is in. He says he really wants to try sit-down pulling. Yeah, is it popular there? Is it something, or is it just a very unique thing?
It's starting to be again. There's a couple of people... they started doing some in New Jersey. They've got the one in Virginia every year.
In Ohio.
I don't think Todd's going to do it. Todd Jackson was actually doing some in Ohio. And about 2 weeks ago, he put his tables up for sale. So
Ah,
I'm guessing he's not doing them anymore. But I used to do 5 or 6 a year sit down tournaments, right up until 05, 06, somewhere in that range, and they just vanished.
It's a different table. Like, is the width of the table the same? It's just the height.
Dimensions of the table are the exact same except for the height, and it's a foot shorter.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to try it because obviously,
and that's one thing. And I'm not trying to call out Todd Jackson. It's nothing like that. But the tables that are being sold now, the seats are not standard. A sit-down table is the same dimensions of a stand-up table except for the legs. But the seat you're supposed to sit on is supposed to be a cubed 18 inches, 18 by 18 by 18. And what I've noticed now, like the ones that Todd Jackson was using, yeah, those are 18 by 18s.
right.
And I noticed that those tables that are being sold online now, they have this little narrow cushion. And I haven't used one yet, so I don't want to say it's good or it's bad. Honestly, I think it would be good, my opinion. You're going to be sitting across it this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would make it more difficult for your hips to actually come off the seat. I think it would eliminate that one hip foul or that one hip warning, because I don't think you would actually come off of that until you are off of it. But like I said, I haven't used one yet. It's something new to me as far as the dimensions of the standard table. That's not those, but it may be better.
Yeah, it's very unique. Do people find that they are in the middle of a match and they're accidentally sort of lifting when they sort of first get into it, and they've got to really discipline themselves to keep that position?
Yeah, you don't want to get in a hurry. You don't want to get in a hurry on a sit down match. you definitely want to be patient in there.
Right.
I proved that last year against no, not Kurt, the Brown guy with just a freakish upper arm.
It's the guy with a big arm in arm wrestling.
Well, he's got just, it looks like a grapefruit sitting up here.
Oh.
No. I can't think of the guy's name. It's the one I ended up losing on fouls to him. It's, I was having to bounce back and forth the entire time. I pulled multiple classes because I was on the awards. They do engraved awards, and I was actually on the right hand awards. So my theory was I'm going to pull a whole bunch of classes.
And in my own face.
And what I didn't understand was that I would never leave from pulling for 27 minutes. I was either on the red table, and Dan, you're in here. I saw you somewhere. They would call me to the blue table while I'm sitting competing at the blue table doing this. What they're doing right now for 20 something minutes. They would call me to the red table. When I would get off the red table, I'd go back to the blue table. That's the way I did the entire day for almost a solid half hour. So it wasn't a good game plan.
How did you go, though?
I still won one weight class, and I think I took second in the other one or third in the other one.
Yeah, you took second. You took first and second.
Yeah.
I got 2 first.
She did. I got 1 first. She got 2. She reminds me of that sometimes.
Fantastic. Home Gym Physique is in. He says, let's get some games, some butt implants for the win. Butt implants, new arm wrestling technique.
Kardashians would make great sit-down arm wrestlers. They could stand straight up and no one would ever know.
That's true. That's really good. Dan Swords says that you'll need to interview Steve and Randy Stanaway. A lot of history and stories go back to the 60s.
Yeah, you're looking at over 80 something years between those brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, I'd love to talk to them. They've been absolutely amazing. And so they're sort of pioneers, or they're very richly cultured in the sit down scene? Is that how it works?
They run the sit down nationals.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, right, incredible. It's
they do the one in Virginia, Yorktown, Virginia each year, and they're both refs and they were both pullers. But yeah, and they work out. They were just at Team Brutal's practice this past week.
all right. Were they sitting down or? Sorry. If they were standing, I would just be like, I don't know if that's him or not.
Randy, I think at the VAL that's the first time Randy's competed in
a few years.
Several years. Yeah, Randy actually kind of semi came out of retirement last month.
Oh, fantastic. To compete again.
Yeah.
He competed in the master class at the VAL this past February.
Fantastic. What is the age bracket requirement for masters?
Some groups start at 40 and some start at 50, but then there will be like a grandmasters will be 60 and maybe like a senior grandmasters at 70 or 80. Altar grandmasters, yeah, I've seen that. I think that's 80-year-old and above, wasn't it? 70. Okay.
What was it? Ultra grandmaster.
That man in the white shirt.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, because I've seen tournaments where it's like masters and then it's like 40 plus, and I was like,
right, okay, let me something else I did not tell you about these two guys.
Okay.
One in the black shirt is 71 years old at that match.
Wow.
But the one in the white shirt was 82. He's 11 years older than Milt in that match. That's
insane. Absolutely insane. 82 years old and holds the record for the longest arm wrestling match this year.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's not. It's a
71-year-old man's arms. What 18-year-old guy wouldn't love to have an arm that looked like it? And he's 71 years old.
And these guys, they're going back and forth. I mean, I'm sort of watching it as we're talking, but it's not like they're just sitting there doing nothing. They're both really hammering at each other. I don't know who wins, so don't tell me, but I'm very keen to find out because I'm not sure what point we're at in the match yet. Oh, we're coming up to the end. This must be the end coming up here, so maybe we'll let this run because it's only got about a minute to go here. It's yeah, absolutely incredible.
It was awesome. Okay, well, Dan Sword says in the comments that Randy Stanaway was actually on the table tonight at practice with him.
Oh, incredible! There you go. It's still going. That's absolutely amazing. Mr. Peanut has chimed in with a fact here. He says the USA Sit Down National Championships is the longest running event in the United States.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, I'm very excited to see. We've got a couple of seconds to go. Who's going to get the win here? It would be suck if it was an elbow foul. Like you have to restart that. Oh, he's holding on. He's holding on. He's holding on. It was funny the video finished without the winner being announced. Oh, there it is. Wow, what an absolutely phenomenal effort from both men there. Jeez, that would have been absolutely incredible.
Oh, that hurt me just watching.
They're both wrecked. Good thing it was sit down. I think they would have fallen on the floor afterward.
What's the longest match you've ever had?
It wouldn't be anything like that at all. But it'd be under a minute. That's for sure. I do love getting in the war position, and I because I've got that the we were talking about earlier with that stop here, and my bicep is very strong. I can hold that position for a long period of time. And usually if I'm there, I feel like for the first maybe 10-15 seconds, I can't get out of that position. And I'm just holding their hits until they're tired enough. Now, okay, they're either going to give up or they'll be like, their arm just goes like, oh, and it's like, okay, now I'll switch straight over. But to get to that point, maybe it might take 30-40 seconds. But yeah, I couldn't imagine being in an absolute war like that.
So you've got a good endurance
Yeah, absolutely.
level.
That's one of my attributes, and I love the fact that people come into the sport with a different thing. Everyone has something different and unique, and you never know what somebody's going to bring to the table, and they don't know themselves until they've sort of built their fundamentals and they know where they're strong and how to move around and that sort of thing, and they'll start gravitating towards a certain technique, and maybe they're just lightning fast, they're just so explosive, and it's like, well, that's their thing, and that's what they do. Or maybe they're like a Michael Todd, and they've found like a lane that just really works for them, and it's like that works for them, that maybe no one else can do that at that level. So for me, yeah, the endurance, being able to hold in that position is something that I would say I have over most people. But it depends on whether I can get that stop, because I get the stop, it's like, okay, cool. If I catch that first hit, I catch the second one, it's only a matter of time. Because the third one, it's like 100%, 80, and then the drop is enormous. It goes from 80 to like 35. you feel that person, and then they look up at you, and you're like, yeah, I'm still here. I can't get through you still, but yeah, it's one of those things. It is fun.
Just remember, you always need to stay stronger longer than your opponent. If the two of you start out dead even, one of you is going to fade a little bit faster than the other one does. And that 1% makes that one
Absolutely.
win.
Yeah, it comes down to those tiny little differences. And endurance definitely has a factor. It is almost a frustration when you go against somebody who is lightning fast with that hit that you know that you've got about a quarter of a second from when they say go to try to do anything before you're hitting the pad. And most of the time you've hit the pad before you're like, all right, you've already won. Okay, great. We've got one of our...
Oh, my reaction time has gotten so bad just getting older. I teach. I have always, if you hear an auditory command, that's one of your senses. But if you visually see the command when you hear it, your body is going to react faster. And it's that way with anything, not just ready goes. It's that way with anything. You hear tires squeal, there's something coming. You see a car sliding at you and hear the tires squeal, you react quicker. I tell her and everyone I've ever trained, watch the ref. If you cannot close your eyes and grip up with your opponent and know everything that they're doing to manipulate your hand and arm and know how to adjust it, you need to get back on the training table. You don't have to see what's going on here. You close your eyes and feel what they're doing, and you watch him. When he says go, you need to be going. See him say go, you'll go faster than they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is definitely a skill, and it's almost one of those things that it feels a lot of people don't train that, or they don't train their setup as much as what they potentially could. And it's like, that is such a integral part of the competition side of arm wrestling, because you might be phenomenally strong everywhere, but if you mistime that go and they've got you 3/4 of the way to the pad before you can even react, it's a long way back. Even if you manage to pull it back, now you've so much energy, whether you're in a super match or a tournament. And it's like, so yeah, that ability to recognize when the referee is going to actually make that call and being able to react to it is critical to success in the sport.
I recommend to anybody, if you don't already know the referee's cadence, if you've never pulled under that referee, walk up to the table either before the tournament starts, when the ref's going over rules, ask, what is your cadence? Have them to say it to you, but have them to repeat it 3 times. Because if a referee goes, ready, go, is my cadence. Well, but is it really? If you do it 3 times in a row, is it going to be ready, go, ready, go, ready, go? Or is it going to be ready, go? And just move, because you need as a competitor to know what the cadence is of the referee. That way you can time that hit. Especially me being older, because I watch his mouth and I time that when ready comes out of the ref's mouth. I time when the ref's mouth begins to move to say go. Up here, I go. But I've gotten so slow on reaction time now that by the time he says go, well, now my body's actually going. So
It's like I was trying to time it, but this was me going
mind tells
fast.
my body to go, but my body doesn't wake up for 10 more minutes. So I gotta go early.
I sent the signal, it just didn't respond. Oh, that's good. Fantastic. Yeah, it is a critical thing to look at what the referee is doing in terms of when are they going to say go. And everyone is different. Every referee seems to have a different positioning that they'll be like, okay, maybe they're getting the hands lined up and they're waiting for that thumbs up from the down ref, and as soon as they get that, they go, and
Right.
and it's like, so watching which referee is going to be your referee for your match. If it's a tournament, it's like, okay, there's 4 referees here. Okay, well, which one's doing my division? I need to watch that person. I need to know how they're setting this up. I always say to the competitors beforehand and during the setup, if it's a ref script. So if they're in ref script there, I'll say my instruction will be to close your thumbs, close your hands. There will be a pause. Then I will say go. So, because I've seen other referees where they'll be like, close your hand, close your thumbs, close your hands, go. And somebody's still halfway closing the hand. They're like,
Right.
So I want it to be settled. Thumbs, hands. I'm going to check, make sure no one's then moving in.
Right.
Then it's a go. And I say go very loudly. my go is a yell.
The AWE would yell,
That's right. We had a tournament up in Queensland last year, and when we were editing the footage together, Ryan Bowen said, "Okay, so how do you want me to edit this?" He said, "Just make it really fast paced. Because just put the matches like from go and pin, like just in a row. No fade ins, no nothing, just fast paced." And I was like, great, no worries. And so I've cut it together and I'm going along with it. And it was maybe 7 minutes long or something. As I was just finishing it up, my kids came in and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I've just edited this video. Do you want to have a look at it?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And I pressed play and it was just me going, go, 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 go. They lost it. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, "Oh, I'm not changing it now." So it's still up on our channel.
For you like that. But I did one of a bunch of her matches together, and it was multiple refs, so it wasn't just the same one go over time. But I put a little bit of background music with it, but all I did, I edited all of them down so short. It was just go, and you saw the start, go, saw the start, go, you saw the start. It was just match after match like that.
Yeah. That's my ideal way of watching, especially tournaments as well, because it's like, okay, if I'm looking for a certain person, it's like, oh, there they are. Okay, great. Oh, I missed it. Hang on, let me just go back a little bit, and then I'll watch it, as opposed to seeing all of the thing, and then they get a go, and then they slip, and it's like, oh god, and then all right, we get the strap, and then they go again, and then there's a foul, and it's like,
Right.
Hey, where's the bit where somebody wins? I just want to see that bit.
Right. I just remembered why I made it. It was for your super match against Autumn Cote, because her and her husband had been trying to find video clips to watch and see what style and how she pulled. So I said, brother, I'll send you a video. So I went in and I did, and all it was ready, go, ready, go, ready, go, ready, go. And it was a bunch of matches. So I posted it and I tagged both of them. I said, here's all you need to know.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm just looking for that video now because it made me laugh. See it. I think I've got it here actually.
Oh, the one where he's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me bring it up here and share that one there. And we'll get back to start for the first go of many.
Go! Go! Spin. Go!
Come on, Z.
Oh. Go! Go!
Maybe 95.
Go!
All right. I think you get the idea there.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
But I want to make it very clear when the match has started. It's like you've settled, you're in position, and then it's a very loud, very clear go, because there's no questions as to has the match started. It's like you've been yelled at. So, because I've had referees that are like, "Yeah, where you go," and you're like, "Are we? Is it on? Like, are we going?" It's like, "Yeah, go." Oh, it's like, why didn't you say it more clearly? Yeah. Also, with the ready go side of it, with AWE, we've taken the ready bit out because the rule set that seems to be with the WAF or with the AAF is like that you can start. Oh, this is what it was explained to me. You could start on the like on ready, like and as soon as you hear you're already going, and that is a legal start. It's like, well, what is the point in saying ready then? Like, why wouldn't you just
that
say
doesn't
go?
make sense to me, because ready, so many people take it as a statement. Ready is a question.
Yeah, that's right.
You're supposed to ask the competitors, "Are you ready?" But of course, you don't go through the whole thing. It's just ready, and that's their time to say yes or no.
Exactly. Yeah. And seeing so many tournaments where it's like, and the referees have adjusted to that, where they now go ready, go. It's like, What are you saying? What is? It's just a
It's
sound.
all one word now. Yeah,
it's all one word. Ready, go. Oh, we've got an interesting question here from, where is it? I had it. Mr. Peanut, was it? No, Home Gym Physique. He says, if those sit-down matches last so long, would it not be boring to watch? Must be tough for the refs to remain focused. Well, I think that was a very unique match that we saw there, where it was the world's longest match. So that's not a typical sit-down match.
No. You will get the rare occasional 7-minute match.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's your record.
Yeah, and the thing was, 3 years in a row that number grew. I had like a 1.5-minute match with a guy, and then the next year I had like a 3-minute match with a guy, and the next year with Kurt Hood I had a 7-minute and 12-second match with a guy. Do you know what you can do with your hands and arms, even your peg holder, after 7 minutes and 12 seconds? You can walk up to the cooler and you can get a bottle of water out like this and hand it to Lucky, because you can't hold it and have her part in your mouth because you can't open the lid. That's what happens at 7 minutes and 12 seconds.
Did you win the match?
No.
Oh, you didn't win.
The guy, Kurt has got a really long forearm. And in a sit-down match, you really need to be able to get high. You really need to be able to get high. And surprisingly enough, finally 3 minutes or so into the match, I got his hand. But by this point, my upper arm was gone because he had been sitting on it, the whole time. And his bicep is fine. Right. Because I had just got up high enough to actually start pulling down on his arm. So I never could gain advantage, really.
Wow. Yeah, so it was almost you've reversed positions in a way. He's sitting on your bicep. Now you've
now I'm trying to sit on his, but we've already been doing this for 3.5 minutes or better. All my adrenaline, if you've ever had a complete adrenaline dump, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody out there that has, my mouth went completely dry at about 3.5 minutes. I couldn't talk. My tongue is stuck to the roof of my mouth. I'm cold. The adrenaline's gone. He was probably the same way. I mean, but at 3.5 minutes, your body's just like, dude, we're not built to do this.
What are you doing? And then
I've had a lot of people ask me, what's it like to pull a match that long? Well, go to the gym, get a dumbbell, get about 80% of your max, and hold it at 90 degrees for the next 7 minutes, and call me and tell me what it felt like.
They'll have to call you on speaker because they won't be able to hold the phone up to their ear.
Oh, like Nance.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then obviously you went for another 3.5 minutes, or even longer than that, actually. What was it, 7 minutes and 13?
7:12, I think.
Wow.
7:12. Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mr. Peanut says you can cheat a go, but can't cheat a hoe. Okay. Watch your face as you say ready and can bark out a loud ho without facial movement. Say ready and bark ho. This way players cannot read your lips to jump start. Well, I guess if you're saying go, like even if you are saying go, that I don't see the issue with people watching your mouth and timing the start. So, but yes, I think he is saying if you say ready ho, which I don't think people are going to jump on board with, Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, just
Gateway Arms, it says the ready is to indicate to both pullers the ref thinks you are set, so don't move because the go is coming anywhere from 0 to 3 seconds. And he follows that up with as a ref
0 to 3 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003. I've never seen a rep with a cadence that slow in my life.
That is a long wait. He says, as a ref, I personally like to delay my ready for at least a couple of seconds as an indicator. Yeah, I guess it would depend on if you explain that to the competitors, or if they've seen what you're doing and they understand that you're going to say ready and then there's going to be a gap before you say go. Because most of the time with the WAF stuff and the AAF stuff that I've seen, people are more than happy to go on ready, and it's just you're instantly and it's like that's apparently legal, so that's when they're going to do it. But
I've never heard that. That's just I can't get on board with that. That's just...
that's why I just simplified it and I just said when I say go, it just means go.
Yeah.
JH Pipe Fitting says, I heard Richard Lupkus has never lost a sit-down arm wrestling match. Probably. The guy's an absolute monster.
Who? Gotcha.
But it's just, like me, I've never lost a powerlifting competition, but I've never done one either.
I've never lost a drag boat race either.
Right.
My record is 0-0, but I've never lost. Gateway Arm says, when the ref works...
What was that said about Richard Lupke's? I just caught something. Or is that who they were talking about had never lost a sit down? Richard never has. If they were making a comment about Rich, Rich never lost the whole time he was pulling.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, he barely lost at his stand-up matches.
I heard Richard Lupke's. Yeah, whoever's saying that, I don't have my read glasses on, guys, so I can't see it. She's having to tell me what it says. But as far as I know, Rich never lost a sit-down match.
So is it?
And he made it look easy. He made it look like he was pulling 10-year-old children.
He did that in the stand-up side of things as well. The guy was an absolute monster.
When you have a T-shirt made with your life-size figure on it, and they make 2 shirts because half of you fit on a shirt and the other half of you fit on another shirt. And I know this is a fact was sold because I own these shirts.
So if you want to wear them, you've got to get somebody else to put the other half on.
I bought them. You have Richard Lupke's left side on one shirt and his right side on the other.
That's incredible.
Have you ever met him? Have you ever seen him?
I haven't met him in real life, no, but I'd love to.
He is so wide.
Wow. Let me bring him up.
His shoulders. He is so friggin'. I mean, he got the nickname the Leviathan for a reason. He's huge.
He is an absolute monster. I'm just going to bring him up here on the video here so everyone knows who we're actually talking about, because I think is he retired at this point, or is he sort of
Yeah, I think he is. I think he was going to have a match a year or so ago, and something happened with his health or something.
right? Okay, there he is. There, he's fired up at that moment. That's not what he normally looks like. But that probably is what he normally looks like right there. You can see the absolute.
But look at his size compared to his opponent that he was standing next to. That's what's so scary when you see him next to a normal, or you see him against a very large human being, and he makes them look small.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you ever get on the table with him?
No, I never have. Never have.
It would have been absolutely amazing. Never lost a match, a sit-down match. There he is there, the absolute legend, Richard Lovekeys. Then and now.
That's one
Yeah,
of the
that's right. That was the one in Las Vegas, I think. I know.
And that's Bobby Hopkins. And Bobby Hopkins was an enormous man.
Yeah, so you can see the size of and obviously having competed for decades as well. Look at that. The shirt is barely keeping up with his size.
Look how easy he went through John.
Insane. Oh, that's just crazy.
Look at his showdown at the width of the table.
It's about the same size.
He is. He's almost as broad as the table is long.
That's insane. Absolutely insane. I wonder if he's still holding on to that size these days. What an absolute monster.
Someone just 3 or 4 years ago posted kind of like a biography video of him. And he still looks freaky. Just crazy huge.
I think if we go to the end, we see a bit more of the more recent times here. You can see it's like when they get the shirts ordered, they must have XL, double XL, and then just Lupkeys.
And then Lupkeys, yeah. Someone in the comments section said that the last they heard that he was really bad sick with COVID.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he's pulled through and everything's back on track for him. We've got another comment about the refereeing stuff up here with Gateway Arms. He says, when the ref works to adjust both pullers for a long time, you almost fall out of tense ready position and the go has a chance to catch one off guard, or in an exhale, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And he also says that was the slowest 3 count that he's ever heard.
Start a stopwatch. 1001 is a second.
Yes, it is home gym physique. He says, yes, last that he heard, Lovekeys was badly sick from COVID and recovering.
I hope he's doing well. I really do. Rich is a great guy.
So is there a certain attribute that is a key element for being successful in sit down versus stand up?
Power.
Okay.
Not going to be a lot of outside pullers on sit down, not a lot of hand manipulation, wrist manipulation like you would do with a top roll. You either need to have good side pressure, or you need to be able to get into that hook and be able to hang on and know how, like I said earlier, you need to know how to adjust your hips so that you can have that. If you're someone who has a good press and you have a tall torso, you could also do well in sit down.
Right.
But if you're an outside puller, if you are just primarily, that's all you do, stand up is your game, man.
Yeah,
you're going to get opened up and hurt on sit down because these guys are strong. And I'm not trying to put off on somebody who pulls outside, but we all know if you are a hardcore outside puller, there's a reason you're out here, because you're not strong when you're in here. And sit down is a lot of power. Sit down's a lot of power.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you aware of Mike West? You know who Mike West is from the U.S.?
No, actually.
Mike West has been competing a lot longer than I have, and I don't know if Dan and them are still in here. They may know how many decades he's been doing sit downs, but he has got thighs for arms.
Wow.
He has just crazy, enormous arms, and he is a fantastic sit down puller.
Does his skill in sit down, does it translate well, or does it carry over at all when he does stand up?
Yeah, I think he's done worlds probably 20 something times or better.
He's at Worlds right now.
Yeah, that's true. He's at Worlds now.
Oh, fantastic! That's incredible. Yeah, it seems to be that there's these guys that have been competing for decades. Obviously, Michael, you're one of them, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show. 32 years of experience. Lucky enough for me, meeting Ron Barth in Ireland last year, and he's been pulling for 42 years, which is, I'm 43 now, but I was 42 at the time, and I said, that's how old I am. You've been competing.
Well, Ron's modest. He's been pulling for about 1,042 years. Because he helped design the original wheel.
He's great. Yeah, lovely guy, Ron Barth. And still at the top of the competitive heap. He's still winning elite level matches and doing.
Oh, Ron is a freak. I love him to death. He's something else.
Yeah, absolutely. But it seems to be this sport is that people can stay in it for 40, 50 years and still be successful. I mean, you look at John Brasink. I mean, he retired for a few years, but he's come back. He's still in the top 5, top 10 in his weight class in the world at, what is he, almost 60 years old now. And it's just...
He's over 60 now.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, he's got East versus West coming up again.
Yeah.
I think John is 62, I believe now.
There you go, and still at the top of the world. That's what I'm saying. It's such a unique thing for a sport, any sport,
and pulling it East versus West.
Yeah, and being successful.
Yeah,
insane. So I'd love to hear about the Arnold weekend that you're competing at. So Lucky, so Mike, you're there to coach Lucky. You're not competing in the event. Lucky, you're competing in 2 divisions. You're doing both right and left. You've already made the finals, actually, for the left. Is that right?
Actually, 4 divisions, right and left, in 2 weight classes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So how do you think, or what's your preparation been like heading into this?
So obviously, when I pulled back in January at the last chance qualifier to be able to do this, I had a pretty hard cut that I had to do to shave off those last few pounds to get to that 154 mark. I really, this past month, fortunately, have stayed right around that weight. So I actually did a lot of muscle building. I did a lot of strength training coming into it to kind of build back some of my power, some of my strength, all that good stuff. He has me doing a couple of different sets that are very we call it like running the rack and the power moves and a lot of different things with like wrist and everything. So I keep telling everybody I have no delusions of grandeur. Like, I recognize that Michelle Dugan is here and Leanne Wilson is here and Martha Swick is here and Court Farwell, who's amazing right-hand puller. And then of course we have all the ladies from overseas. So, Canada had Vivian Santos come down, Ellen Heron came down. Like, it's ridiculous, the ladies that are here. So for me, it's really just an opportunity. One of my goals for 2025 is to grip up with at least 40 ladies. And so I'll have an opportunity to hopefully do around 8 tomorrow in the competition setting. And I would love to be able to pull all of them in like the after polls just to grip up and, put their name on my list. And so, because like I said, there's 13 other ladies here. And then just basically just really put into practice what I've been working on, seeing, what's working for me, what do I need to go back and work on, continue going to continue? What lanes did I really feel that, okay, now that I know this is where my benchmark is, how do I improve that lane moving forward, and what can we work on in the future to maybe have a better outcome? So
it'll be a really good gauge as to what to improve on for the ladies round robin she's doing in April.
April, yeah.
Yeah. How many ladies will be in that round robin?
So that is 12. So including me. So it'll be 11
That's the one
rounds.
that you did last year as well. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did right hand last year in the 155 plus, and then this year I'm doing 154s, 0 to 154s, left hand.
Was that a thing that you've said, look, I want to be in that weight class, 154, or was it that you started the carnivore diet, you've started dropping weight significantly, and you're like, maybe 154, let's see what happens?
My initial goal was just 176, honestly, because that was like going to be like a pretty, that was the next step down. I was like, okay, so like literally, because I am a teacher at heart, I had my spreadsheet out, I had my goal thing, I had like little like mini goals I could fill in, and so I needed something to really keep me going. So initially, like if you look at all of that, it was only to get to 176. And then when I saw how many tournaments were really cutting off that at that 154 mark, I was like, well, if I go down 22 more pounds, then, that opens more doors as far as tournament cutoffs. And then, I'm not always pulling open weight if I don't want to. So I think I got into like the 190s and decided, you know what? I'm going to get to 176 and celebrate that, but my ultimate goal is going to go ahead and be down to the 154s.
Wow. That's such a difference between last year, this year. What does that feel like for you to be able to step in and go, do you remember me from last year? Well, here I am now in 154s.
I mean, I really appreciate the support of the community, because a lot of them, because we pull a lot of the same areas, we meet up with a lot of the same people, and the support of the community has been really just uplifting, of just like, girl, like I didn't recognize you, or like or like I can't believe how well you're doing, and so it's been, I love sharing my journey. Obviously was very vulnerable for me, because you get some of the messages of just like that aren't so nice, that you have to like move to your archive or just delete. But face to face, when I go to a tournament, like it's been really great. And because he's also been on his journey too, coming down from the supers down to the 154 alongside me. Well, I came alongside him. Neither here nor there. But so for both of us to be able to walk into a tournament and literally be half the people we were the last time we had pulled at that same tournament, it's crazy.
Wow. Are you getting people that are literally not recognizing you?
Last week, Cole Dogan, I'm calling you out worldwide, walked by me in a restaurant looking straight at me, goes past me, then walks backwards looking at me with his mouth hanging open, because he has not seen me since 13 months ago. We were at a practice at Paul Passmore's. And when I dropped him off that day after practice, he hasn't seen me since then. And I'm down 70 something pounds since then.
Wow.
And he come walking backwards, and he's like, man, he said, Mike, he said, and he come up and he hugged me. He's like, man, wow. He said, I've been watching you and Lucky online. He said, I've seen pictures and videos. I knew you had lost weight. He said, but I didn't recognize you.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, how does that make you feel, like that you've made that adjustment so much that people are literally thinking you're a different person?
Oh, for me, it's great, because like I said earlier, I started out in the 90s as a semi-pro bodybuilder. So you've got somebody that his last skin fold check put him at 4.7% body fat at 208 pounds. And then you go into the hospital and you come out and you're bedbound with an IV pole. And 9 months later, you're 268 pounds and you're not 4.7% body fat anymore. You're 104% body fat. So I went through that. And then when I started trying to drop the weight, I just wanted to do it over a long period of time because the body is a fan of homeostasis. If you lose weight really fast and you don't continue to keep it, you're just going to rebound. And the slower, more consistent you lose it and let your body get used to it, the longer you'll keep it off. And that's what I wanted to do. But because of health reasons, this past year, I was given no choice but to go on carnivore.
Okay.
And the thing is, I'll always be on it. So I'll always maintain it. But the amount of weight that I've lost and how lean I've gotten in the last year is insane. It's just when I was bodybuilding, I was 3 weeks off of stage prep, and I wasn't as lean as I am right now.
Wow.
So it's one of those things. I want to. I'm fixing to turn 55. May the 5th, I'll be 55. I have not had visible abs since I was 28. But the world going to see some abs come May the 5th at age 55. But then, I hate to tell y'all, but I'm going back to eating a lot of bacon and a lot of stuff with calories because I don't feel good, guys. Man, I'm too lean. Okay.
You're putting everyone else to shame. That's what's going on.
I need to be walking around 155, 160. I really don't need to get any lighter than that.
Right.
I've gotten to the point of lean to where I don't think it's a healthy lean.
Right. Oh, it's insane. Yeah, I do agree completely with the gradual weight loss as opposed to, and we see this all the time. I used to work in a gym full time, and they would do those 12-week challenges and stuff like that, which has its benefits, but the amount of people that would hit the gym ridiculously hard for 12 weeks, they would lose a lot of weight, and as soon as the competition was over, they go straight back to where they were,
Right.
or they go in bigger. And then their mindset of exercise is the extreme level of exercise that they were doing throughout those 12 weeks. And it's like, it's not supposed to be that way.
Reward afterwards once you finish.
Right.
There's nothing to work for anymore. So
that's the bad thing about those little, I call them scam groups. They tell you come in for a 12-week and you look amazing. Well, you will. But what they don't tell you is now you're going to have to maintain, or you will go back to looking exactly the way you did or larger.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's one of those things that you see, and it's disappointing because you see people that they're going so positively and they're seeing these results and they're working really hard, and as soon as that challenge is done, like that motivation, the end point is gone. It's like, okay, well now I don't have to go and train for 4 hours a day, and they don't. And what happens is, of course, then they start to
Right.
keep on.
Well, and the thing is, once they get to that goal that they're wanting, they don't have to go train
Exactly.
for 4 hours a day, but they could go train for one.
That's right, but they don't get taught that throughout the 12 weeks. It's just like, oh, let's see how much weight you can lose.
Right.
It's like, what do you weigh now? Let's see what you weigh in 12 weeks. That's the only sort of aspect of it.
That's the goal. Yeah.
It's not like, let's teach you healthy eating.
The company that I used to work for, that I retired from, they would have weight loss challenges 2 times a year. And the thing was, at the time I was bodybuilding. So water cutting, and dropping weight and gaining weight, that was my game. And the way they ran it was, it went by what your starting weight was as compared to your final weight. So I would go in with about 14, 15 pounds of water in me. That would be my weigh-in. And then I would do a hard water cut for the last weigh-in. I would, super hydrate 2 days and start cutting back and then completely hydrate on that last day. So just in water, I could have like a 40-pound variance and never lose a pound.
Did
I think I won 5 of those. And the thing was, I never lost any weight, gained weight.
that's insane. Absolutely
No,
insane.
I went by their rules. Is what I went by.
Loopholes, like a spaghetti strainer.
Well, that's what they set out. What was the prize? You remember what prizes they had?
$100 gift cards.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
There you go. And you're like, hey, I was doing this anyway, so why not? Incredible. Well, I know it's getting late over there. You guys have got a big tournament on. So it's tomorrow that you've got matches on? Yes.
The itinerary is that we have a athletes meeting at 9 o'clock. We'll go over the booth. They'll go over rules. I'm sure the rest will be there at 9 a.m. We'll probably come back to the hotel. I'll get some more rest and everything, and then the ladies pull at the same time as the 273 gentlemen at 6:30. So they want us there about a half hour early in case like it goes quick and they want to get us started early. After they finish the women's and the super heavies, they'll have another finalist meeting. So all the finalists will come from each weight class. And they'll go over what's going to happen on Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday morning at 10 is the right hand, and that'll be on the Arnold's official live stream page because it'll be on the main stage. And then Sunday, I believe Sunday's 9. Will be on the streaming the left hand finals, and so they have all the regular U.S. weight classes of 154, 176, 198, 220s, and 242s, and then they add those extra ones of the 243 to 273, and then 273 plus.
Wow, that's so many divisions there. We struggled to fill 3 divisions.
and it's crazy. The 220s is not a big class at all. And then the 154s is really large. 176 is a huge class. 198 is about medium, and then the 242s are a little bit smaller. And then you get down into like the kind of the single digit classes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very surprised at how large 176 was compared to 198. So
yeah, well, you're going to be competing there hopefully over all 3 days. We'll see how you do. As you said, you've already qualified for the finals on the left hand in one division, and we'll see how you go.
I don't understand why they're competing a semifinal if there are only 4 people in there.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, we might not. They might just let us all pull Sunday.
I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Well,
to determine who's on A and B side Sunday, I guess. I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. Well, I think you'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully, at the meeting they'll go through it there. But yeah, we might look at finishing this up. I know you want to get your rest and make sure you're all ready to go. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have both of you on the show, Mike, with your 32 years of arm wrestling experience. And hearing about the sit-down arm wrestling was a real pleasure for me because, as I said, I have not really seen much of that at all. And to have somebody that has not only competed in it, but competed in it for 32 years or has a wealth of experience in it was an absolute privilege and lucky. It's so good to see you again and hear about your upcoming event. And the best of luck for you this weekend. Do we have any final thoughts? Anyone you want to shout out? We've got the Lucky Ones podcast, obviously, on Saturday night.
So we won't do it tomorrow night because obviously I'm here. So next week we will have our regular scheduled program, March 8th. So that'll be awesome. So join us next Saturday on the Lucky Ones page. And also, shout out to this guy because he is I think the only one to have Aries ratings in every single weight class, right and left hand. So that's pretty cool.
That is, it's absolutely.
Yep. So from 142 plus all the way down to 154s.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. As I said, privileged to talk to both of you. Thank you to everyone in the chat for your comments as well. And we will finish things up there. Thank you again.